we will definitely not shut up and dribble.
The champ is here. I must be the greatest. The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
I'm a bad man. I took up the road.
Yes, welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with we. My name is EJ, and I got my man.
MH.
Yes, sir. He's a DP of the show, and you know what we do, man. We're going to hop into this live. Once a month, we just kind of jump on and talk to the teammates, our MVPs and all our players inside the live, and just talk about the top topics, man. So we're seeing people jump on in the background, so let's slowly bring them in. I'm about to transition, man. If you see him, call him out, man. Looks like we got coaching. Let's catch up with her really quick. But if you see him, MH, call him out.
Yes, sir. Coach, what's up, Gene?
What's going on?
Okay.
How y'all living?
Good.
Fabulous. What's up, Gene?
What's going on, Coach?
Oh, so man, two of our most recent people on the show, right? That's what's up, man. Good to see it. So, Coach Reese, we just had you recently on it and brought so much light about what was going on, and I think you're bringing a unique aspect to the show. To just sports in general with that platform of Tackleats, man. Just great stuff. So, kind of give us an update. What's going on with you?
Man, I'm gonna say this with the most humblest heart. I've gone viral on TikTok a couple of times recently, and your girl is over 90K followers. So that's not specifically about Tackleats, but it's about the branding structure, right? Because people know when they invest in any company, they're investing in the CEO. And so It's important for me to make sure that, I'm doing my part. And so to know that I can leverage a brand or a platform like TikTok to be able to put people on in other spaces when it comes to you and Tackleats, that's something I've done. So I've had a couple videos. One hit over 1 million some. Another is on its way to there. Like I said, over 90K followers right now. So right now I'm just making sure that I'm where I need to be so that I can continue to serve, I can sustain, and I can scale what I've got going on. So that's my check-in.
I love it. And Gene, you was recently on that was last week, man. Gene was just on. He hot off the presses, but he missed a live or two. And Gene be coming with that hot fire on the live. So we glad to see Mr. VP over there at the UFC, man. So what's going on in your world, man? What's coming new?
Man, nothing much. Just preparing, man. We headed to Singapore Saturday, so got to get prepared for that, and got on sales for Dallas, Long Beach, all this stuff coming up. So just preparing, man. Just trying to get quarter 3, quarter 4 done so I can go on vacation.
Oh, you get vacation? Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, that's what they call it. They call it vacation.
For sure. And then Bobby Stills is a long-time vet of the show, man.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Welcome to the show, man. Glad to see you as always, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here.
There it is. Young EP. What's up, man?
Yo, what's good?
Do we need to do a test on you, man? Make sure you're doing all right, man.
I feel like I'm doing good. I'm doing all right. It is what it is. I'm excited for next season.
Hey, so for those that don't know, Young EP, man, he represents everything, Texas, everything. And so as you see that Emmett Smith jersey in the background, which I love and respect because he's a Florida boy, but the Dallas Mavs just didn't quite make it in there. So like you said,
more to the collection actually.
Okay.
Just don't move the camera. Got a Witten jersey, and then my fiance's father
got all of the jersey game. And while he's getting it set up,
the Joe Namath.
Oh boy,
yeah.
Okay.
Roger Staubach, yes, sir.
Damn, that's what's up. Good stuff.
Blessed, never stressed,
There it is. And then Miss Ebony, we got the CEOs and the VPs all in the house. Madam Vice President, how are you doing today?
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone.
That's what's up. Well, we got a room, and it only take us a few to kind of get it started, man. So, MH, man, you think we ready, man? Should we get going?
Yes, sir. You the captain, so I'm following the captain lead here.
Well, let's start with, since we do, I mean, Coach Reese has the little orangish kind of color. So let's just start with the WNBA. And we actually were looking for a quote. We were like kind of quoting or just kind of taking a piece of the show. And we asked you a really great question, and I loved your answer. All right. So we want to give you some time to expound upon it. Once I said it, it'll definitely refresh you. So we'll start with you. And then, everyone else feel welcome to kind of jump in the conversation. But I think the last thing I saw is it's been 100 days since Brittany, or more, I guess, to when we're recording this. But since anything's happened, man. And your quote was like, we've long since failed Brittany. But with the status right now and the stats right now, who you think has more responsibility, the government or the WNBA, or just what's your thoughts on that?
I'm going to be fully transparent, man. When I'm watching these Sherelle interviews, I'm coming to tears. Like,
Damn.
my whole heart when I'm watching her wife sit there try to get through these, and she hasn't spoken to her partner in 100 days. Now, everybody, a lot of the interviewers are asking, like, do you think if this was LeBron or Steph or Katie or anybody like that, would it still be the case? No, it wouldn't be the case. And that's the unfortunate piece, right? Again, as I talked about last time I was on here, as a Black woman, as a Black masculine woman, right? Like, she is literally, not even a factor to them. And that's what breaks my heart. And so I think, who is responsible at this point? I think, it's the president who can actually, whoever is the person who can take action, right? The W, I think, is doing what they can. They're obviously in season. So it's like, do they even have the personnel to be able to? Hopefully, the players are obviously trying to play. They're doing their part with making sure they're shining light on it as much as they can. They've got petitions and things going around. But I think now it's going to take the NBA. Honestly, it's not up to the W anymore. It's up to the NBA and the parties that be to now say, we are now backing the W in this way. And then I think now it becomes USA Basketball and the entire basketball organization and community to say, it is our job to make sure she gets home safe. And that joint needs to happen as soon as possible, because this is a human's life who has probably been doing something that she did the last 9 years or plus that she's been going over there. Nothing new. And so that's the unfortunate part, is we know that if it was anybody else, this wouldn't be the case.
Facts. So, Gene, I want you to step in really quick, because from a political standpoint, right? Like, we talked about on your show just kind of how you engage, and we just talked about just the whole. So, yeah, speak on it.
So I would say this. I wouldn't say if it was a LeBron type player, it might be a lot worse. The bigger the name, the bigger the draw for Russia. So if they had a LeBron, they know they have a lot of leverage. Like, even with Brittany, they're asking for one of the most biggest criminals of all time to be released just to trade for Brittany Griner. And they want us to release him back to Russia. One of the biggest arms dealers from Russia. That's what they want. That's what they said. That's what they want, for them to release Brittany Griner. And that's what it's going to take. So if it was a LeBron or a bigger star, they would want even more to do it. Because that's just how the government works. Like, Russia is one of those countries you just don't deal with. Like, it's one of those ones that they don't want to negotiate. They want to negotiate. They want to play hardball. The fact that Brittany is a well-known WNBA player, that's the only reason she's getting held. That's the only reason she's getting held. If that was me, you, or anybody else, they would just let you go. But since it's her, and they knew it was her, they knew she's famous in the States, and if they're in the middle of a war with Ukraine that we keep funding and we keep sending money to help, she's become like just a political prisoner at this point. And that's what it just boils down to. It's just, they're not going to let her go. Like, if it was anybody bigger, it'd probably be much worse, because then they're going to ask for more than just one guy to be released. They're going way more based on who it is. But like I say, it's good. I'm glad that commissioner from NBA finally said something. Like, he got on media during his media call. He actually said something about Brittany Griner. And I know they're continuously working on that. I have friends in DC, and they're all continuously working on it. They're trying to get her home as fast as possible. And it's just one of those things, like, Ukraine and Russia are still in the middle of a war. And I don't think she's going to be home until that's settled. I think they're going to hold her until that's settled.
Damn.
Yeah. You got to think about it. We just sent, another 40 million over to Ukraine?
For aid, yeah.
Yeah. Until that's settled between Ukraine and Russia, they're gonna hold her because they look at her as a chip inside the situation, especially when it's coming to dealing with the U.S. Now, if we wasn't helping Ukraine, if we wasn't help funding and doing like that, she'd probably be at home already. But since we were already doing that from the beginning, they're gonna hold on to her until it's over.
Anybody else? Everybody got that new information. Everybody like, oh well, damn. Since you put it that way.
Well, I mean, I think, it's just one of those situations where you go, it makes you question, traveling outside the States when things like this are going on. But I also wonder how it's going to affect players that play overseas in the future and their choices of countries to play in, and how this could play out for future world games in Russia and with Russian teams, knowing that this is again a path that they have chosen to go down. That, for the most part has been condemned by everyone. It's just it sucks when, regular people get caught in the middle of something like this. It again, it breaks your heart because Brittany has nothing to do with this at all. She was over there working essentially and just wanted to come home, and she's being held up. But it also makes you think, what other just Americans didn't get out and are there and are probably being held, and they're not getting any TV time,
right?
Because they're not affluential players in the United States in any way, or affluential in any way. They're just regular Americans that are over there doing their job. So again, it's like there's all of these things that become highlights in the news that, they become highlights because of a specific person, but it's thinking about all the other people that are affected by whatever is going on that don't even get that highlight. So it's just a shame, and I'll be interested to see again how it affects everything else moving forward. Because, once the season is over, these women normally go when they play somewhere else. How does that affect them? What are their choices going to be? Is there going to be a season pending this war, being the status of this war at the time that their season is over?
So it definitely depends on, that's a great question.
You also have to think about it. Russia pays the most. Russia was paying the women the most. That's why all the top stars are going to Russia, because they were paying the most out of all the other countries.
Gene, let me ask you this. So there was a crime
yes
committed. Do you think, whether this be petty or not, do you think, this is something that's probably been happening for her, time 6, 7, 8 years in her career, and they just kind of had information? It was just kind of a timing thing to say, okay, we're going to pull the trigger now on this?
I think just she probably just forgot it in her bag. That's what I think. I just think she just forgot it, because usually they're smart enough to dump it. Like getting it in is easy. Leaving is the problem. Usually, whatever you take, you leave it there. Like whatever you bring in, you leave it there. You don't try to leave out with it, because it's more strict on those international airports on any little thing. And then at that time of war, they're looking for anything that's coming in and out, because they don't know what's going on.
So that's a great point, MH, though, because it's like they probably had that intel. You know what I mean? Like we speak on a lot of things, like they know what's going on. And then when they need that leverage of time to pinch you, it's like, oh, well, she usually comes with this, such as so. Like it could, I can see both. I can see what you're saying, MH. Like, yo, she's probably been doing it. She's been going to her for years. But Gene, I can see what you're saying too, as well as like it's. I just think
she honestly forgot. Like, and it happened to people sometimes. They forget what they have in their bags.
Or could have got planted. I mean, we can be real there.
Yeah.
They might have, again, if they had the intel.
Yeah. But I think she already admitted to have that was hers.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay. Well,
so she already.
Then she forgot it. Then I agree. She forgot it.
But it's small enough where it's really just, even if she had to go to jail, she'd be there like a week and out. Like it wasn't enough for 100 days.
Yeah.
No, facts.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure they was watching her the whole time to when she was going to leave, when it was going down. So they already, that just happened to be the easy scapegoat for them to get her for, because it probably was on her. But they was going to find some reason to keep her over there. They didn't have anybody big name over there. And then when she was getting ready to leave, I'm sure they was going to wait to find anything, if they had to plan it or do whatever they can to get her over there as some type of leverage. And it's unfortunate that they're using her and they're letting other people out that aren't as significant as her, to try to keep her for the big bang or the buck or whoever they're trying to get out now. And like you were talking about NBA players, I mean, they would play the same ball game with them too, if it was a LeBron or somebody like that. But 9 out of 10, you wouldn't get a LeBron, not a now LeBron over there, maybe a 50-year-old LeBron or somebody like that. But yeah, you're not going to get, she's the biggest type of star they're going to get to go to Russia for the change that they're paying. So it's just an unfortunate thing. And hopefully they can get that resolved sooner than later, because it ain't fair to nobody and her and what they're using her for.
Yeah, that was more so to my point, Bob, like the action I think that would be taken on the other side if it was, right? Like if it was somebody of LeBron type caliber, like I think that we'd see more movement towards, right? If you can get other people out, which we've seen, they've brought other people home. And so I think the action behind it would be a little bit more swift than what we're seeing 100 days right now. Right. That's what more so my point. But again, it's just unfortunate across the board that we even have to have this conversation 100 days later. And the fact that if we feel like this, her wife said, if we feel like it every minute or month or whatever, she's feeling it every single second. And that to me is what breaks my heart, is to know that she hasn't even spoken to her. And now she's having to use her law degree in a way that she probably never even thought she would have to use it. Now she's having to use it within her own relationship to get her wife home. That right there just is heartbreaking amongst everything else that's going on in the world right now.
Yeah,
all right.
Sure. NBA playoffs, EP, man. I wanted to check. We did a check-in on you, and you made some bold predictions last time. I think you were right on most of them, man. So
hey, you see it in the chat. Eric Padalevin's a legend. You know what it is. You know what it is.
Your thoughts, man, on the Mavericks.
You got the whole town.
I think if the Mavs
help out there,
facts. I think if the Mavs get a big man, and I mean the coaching, it seems to be solid, and if Luka gets some help, some all-star help, I think they'll take 2-7 personally. The way they've played this year and the way they continued to play throughout the playoffs, they've played out of their minds. I mean, Luka is a legend in his own. He's going to be bigger than Dirk, I think, when he leaves Dallas, personally. But I think they have the capabilities to make the pools, and they'll take 2 in 7 years. My thoughts. So remember in 2030, when the Mavs have 2, call me.
Yo,
2 and 7. It's on record.
It's on record. Because I mean, Steph's not going to be playing in 7 years. Clay. They're not going to be around.
But that man in Milwaukee will.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Hey, that changed real quick.
Forgot about him.
I mean, Nigerian in Milwaukee.
I want to welcome Crenshaw to the show, man. Welcome, Crenshaw.
I think they have the capability, man.
And Evie, I see she took her mic off. She is ready. She hit me up before, so I'm gonna take the floor, Madam VP.
All I'm saying is, I said Atlanta was gonna get at least one. Everyone's like, nah, they're not gonna get one. I said, yeah, they are. They're gonna get at least one. The boys came out there to play. I will say, like, the playoffs this year, I feel like have been very energizing for the most part. With each of the series that have gone by, they've just been going at it. I think there were a lot of sweeps called for, and we didn't really see any of the sweeps that we thought we would see. I was definitely
dog fights out there.
I was disappointed with Phoenix because I was hoping, I love me some Chris Paul. I was like, come on, y'all can do it. I'm over here like, you can do it. Let's go. And I was like, damn it. I wanted them to win so bad, but I feel like it's definitely been one of those years where you're just like, okay, which game is on it? Yeah, I'm just gonna watch all the games, because if I miss something, I'm gonna miss some kind of key play that's going to be a dunk. There's going to be conversation tomorrow, and I have to watch the highlight. I need to watch it in real time. So I feel like the playoffs have been.
I hate to keep bringing up bad news for my youngin down there, but highlights. Since you speak of highlights and dunks, didn't Wiggins have a pretty dope highlight?
Hey, the rule is it don't count. It didn't happen. That's the rule. That's the rule. You get crossover, you miss the shot, don't count. That's it. Didn't count. It struck from the board. I don't know what you're talking about.
But I think it did count, though. I think
that was
I thought they recalled that.
Yeah, they reviewed it and they said,
yeah, that was a good bucket.
Huh?
That was a good bucket.
He said, huh?
I got to.
He said, huh?
You got the selective memory?
No, no. You didn't hear that. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about at all.
Yeah, I agree with you on Ebony with the Chris Paul thing. The sad thing about his situation is he's had maybe 2-3 years where some of the biggest names in NBA aren't in the playoffs, and this is the time he was supposed to sneak and at least get him one. And unfortunately, I don't think he's going to get one now, because if he didn't get one this year with the teams that were there, you didn't have the LeBron, the KDs, some of those big names to stop him. And then it was 1 year no Curry, but now Curry's back in it. I just don't think he's going to be able to get one. He's going to be another one of them Charles Barkley-like players that had a Hall of Fame career, but for some reason couldn't sneak one in.
Yeah, it was really rough to watch. And, I think a lot of the conversation surrounding Devin Booker and his contribution or lack thereof, I think is, it's a valid discussion. I mean, Chris Paul is Chris Paul. He came out, he did his thing. I feel like there were some games where he could have given more, but it's like, it just hurt to not see them go further.
Well, you know what those Kardashian, those Jenners do to those players. So,
yeah,
Booker was out of it. He was done as soon as he started messing around that way. He wasn't going to be focused no more.
There's lots of lights and cameras, lots of flash things.
All right, so what are our predictions? So we have the matchups, right? So we definitely think they're only going to get a couple. It's a done deal. Hand the Warriors another championship.
I disagree. I think that Celtics team, man, that's they tough. And even when you watch the Warriors, Curry ain't been crazy Curry. I mean, he's been doing his thing, but to be honest with you, if you're going to depend on these Wiggins and some of these guys and Pools to step up against a team like Boston, I think it's going to be a little bit closer than people think, because I just ain't seen that dominant Curry to where it's game over as soon as he get out there. I mean, because he done had some soft games in this playoffs, and just fortunately the role players stepped up, and that Boston team's tough. I wouldn't be shocked if they slid, and I'm going to say maybe 4-2 Boston.
I agree with that as well. I think if Boston gets a hand on one thing I noticed, like with the Mavs and the Warriors, if they get a handle on offensive rebounds and like second chance points for the Warriors, it's a wrap. I mean, that's where the Mavs shot themselves in the foot in a couple of games, is that they just let them continue to dominate the boards, offensive rebounds, pass it back out. I'm watching Curry getting second chance rebounds. Like,
Luka need help, man.
They need a big man. Someone said they need a big man, and I was disagreeing with them. That was before they played the Suns, and then after they played the Suns, I was even more like, Powell's enough. And then after they played the Warriors, like, Powell's not enough. He needs to go. We need somebody else.
I feel like overall, like, them second chance points was killing people, like, through all of the series. And I just felt like that, like, to your point, that's who had the game. Like, if you was going to get them rebounds, if you was going to get those putbacks, like, it's about hustle. And I do have to say, Boston, like, they've been hustling. Since I watched the first series with them against Brooklyn, I was like, who are these boys? Like, what y'all out here doing? Like, I was like, I don't even really know none of y'all like that, but I see y'all out here trying to be grown and stuff.
All right, Crenshaw, man, we got you on here, man. Looks like you got your who do you got, man?
I'm going with Golden State. You know what I mean? That experience, I got to go with them, man. And plus they're a little bit deeper as far as like the bench goes.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Golden State.
And do you believe in, how they say in God we trust? Do you trust in Curry's ankles? Because like that's a tough one right there, man. Like I love Curry, but it is a joke. But like we did see health or just injuries really kind of put a real kind of factor on these playoffs. If you talk about just the last build up, even the Suns had injury, just injury bound. So what's your thoughts on that? Anybody?
I think like Marcus Smart, he seems like he gets injured like every series. You know what I mean?
Career
So like when he's hurt, they're in trouble. You know what I mean? Because that defense is not as crazy without him. You know what I mean? So.
Did anybody else feel like they was kind of using that to energize the rest of the team and the crowd? I feel like every time you turn around, somebody was going out and then they got to go back to the locker room and then here they go back out.
It's the modern day MJ secret stuff.
Marcus Smart almost cost them the game. Marcus Smart was too busy trying to win the MVP award.
Yeah, that Larry Bird.
Yeah, he's trying to win the Larry Bird.
Paul Pierce started that in Boston.
Okay, Paul Pierce award. No, he got a
he started that. I'm hurting and come back.
I had a boo boo.
Yeah,
them doctors in Boston. Boy.
So no, somebody brought it up because I was looking down on that is one of the topics I want to talk about. We can finish up and get your predictions, but how do we feel about these damn added NBA awards, right? So it's the Larry Bird and was it the
Magic Johnson?
Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
How do we feel about those awards being handed out?
That's them awards they give to all those kids for the second and third
participation trophy.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's like
it does go to the champion of the conference.
It's still a participation. You're not the best.
Not yet, at least.
Not yet.
It should only be one.
So I think we all on the same page. Like I saw that I was sitting with something. I was just like, really? Like we making up trophies again now that like
we got to add to Steph Curry's resume, man. We got
we
had to shut down the whole. We had to
the shot. He got the.
We got to shut down the whole NBA for the 3-point range. So we got to add to his.
Look, I know Barkley, man. Barkley said, "Man, I should have had that Magic Johnson trophy."
Yeah, right. How many of y'all got third place ribbons at your house from when you was a kid? They don't even give them no more.
Right.
Everybody get
the same color ribbon.
Yeah, that's why I don't like that. Also, boss. Warriors in 6.
Whoa! So there we go. We got that.
I don't trust Boston at all. Like they is so inconsistent, and you can against the younger team. Like you can do that against the Heat and them being banged up. Like and then you went up against a banged up Milwaukee team, and then you went to mental health Nets. Like really, did you really beat anybody? Like.
I don't know, Gene. If you look at Al Horford, he looking like back when he was with the Gators.
Yeah, but
he didn't got his juice back now.
If Middleton was with Milwaukee would be in the finals. It wouldn't even be close. Like now you're going against a full healthy Warriors team that don't have like one inkling of an injury, and and basketball IQ is higher on that side.
So I got a question for you. Can we get a lot of Boston from the chat, man? But if let's just say hypothetically, if it goes 7, do you think Boston has a chance? Like if it goes 7, is that like the breaking point?
Yeah. As long as Tatum.
But I'm still going with the Warriors. I think it's the Warriors. Has anybody else seen the stat that every time Kendrick comes out with an album, the Warriors win the championship?
I did see that. I saw that.
Every single time Kendrick drops an album, the Warriors win the championship.
I did see that. That's fact.
He's dropped an album every time they won a championship, right before they won.
I'm about to go back in time and tell Kendrick just to delay a little bit. Push it back, bro. Push it back.
No.
I just don't trust Boston, man. Like they just had some lucky breaks. They went against a banged up Miami team who was banged up across the board.
Well, they were just better than
Miami. 6
Miami.
man of the year didn't even play in the games. Like,
I think they were just better than Miami.
Who was like their second or third leading scorer. So I was like, Boston don't do it for me. They're gonna go against and the Warriors just smarter. They're a smarter team.
Yeah, I think the Warriors. I would probably say Warriors in 7 for 2 reasons. One, as good as Boston's defense is, the Warriors play a little differently than everybody else in the NBA. It becomes just kind of player movement and ball movement. Everybody else in the NBA is kind of one-on-one type ordeal. So I do want to see how they kind of match up defensively with the Warriors. And then 2, I think the Warriors have been banged up kind of all year. You know, Steph missed a portion, Clay missed a portion, Draymond missed a portion. I think they're just kind of hitting their stride right now. So I don't think it's anything against Boston. I just think the Warriors are hitting their stride at the right time.
Keep in mind, if it goes 7, it's in Boston. That's gonna be tough.
No. It's in.
Boston had a better record than Golden State. It was a higher seed. Yeah, Boston was a higher seed than Golden State.
We got to check that one.
That's going to be Game 7 to be in Boston.
You think a rookie coach can pull it out?
Yeah,
I think he can. As long as Jason Tatum leave that wristband at home, go ahead and leave that Kobe sweatband at home, man.
Yeah. Hey, man, that's a jinx for him, though.
He was doing a little bit too much for me.
Too much, man.
Too much, man. I was like,
leave that at home, man.
Over there texting Kobe's old phone, I was like, whoa, that doesn't work for me.
At least don't put it on IG.
Yeah, don't put it on IG.
Right. I mean, you're doing a little too much for me.
Yeah.
Been real light skinned at the moment. So
really? Anyway.
What do you guys think about fouls and the refs? How do you think that's going to play into this final series? Because we all know it's been questionable kind of since the beginning. Like, I feel like that's one of those things everybody's going to be hanging on at the end of the day. Unless they're really clean wins, I think everybody's going to be looking at, okay, what foul got called? What level of foul was it? Like, when did it get called? Who did it? I mean, the fouls have been ridiculous. And I mean, I got to be honest, the whining from the players has been absolutely ridiculous. I can't with them.
The whine is not going to stop.
Every time they get tapped.
All right.
Basketball.
All of them need to go to acting school. Everybody, they need to start their own little, I don't know if they already have acting, a flop class, a drama class. They want to go over and talk to the ref. I couldn't.
Well, Eb, like MLS is becoming bigger in the States, so all of these, Brown owns the MLS. They be watching that, and that's where all this flopping. I mean, it looks like MLS on the court is so bad.
I don't even understand. As a coach, I'd be like, I'm gonna need you to shut up talking to the ref. You need to be playing your game. If you was playing your game, minding your own damn business, you wouldn't need to be worried about what the ref is saying. You need to get out there and play some basketball. Like, I don't understand that. Some of these children is a little too young. That basketball that they was playing, that AAU, that was that punk AAU, that wasn't no real AAU. And so they don't know how to take a foul the right way anyway. And they're over here, hit my elbow. It hurt. I hurt. I gotta go to the back.
It's just relationship building. That's all it is. That's just building a relationship.
That's what we gonna call it.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of building relationships. For the most part, I'm with you. And that's probably why I don't necessarily like March Madness, because they determine games based on foul trouble a lot of times in the NCAA tournament. But in the NBA, I mean, I think it's a 7-game series. For the most part, if you win it 4 times, you're just kind of the better team, in my opinion. Refs aside.
Do these kids even play street ball anymore? I mean, they all go to AAU. I mean, back in the days, we ain't playing street ball. Wasn't no ref, so you're going to get fouled. You're going to go home scratched up with nails on you. Now, they all going to AAU every summer.
And don't
call your own foul. You got to fight for it. Like, literally.
Don't call that foul either, because they will clown you the whole time. Oh, that's a foul? Okay, let me show you what a real one is. You like, ooh.
I still got scratches on me from EJ at hooping at his house when we was kids.
Wow.
I'll tell y'all though, the AAU scene is crazy. I'm coaching high school right now, high school girls, and the refs, the fouls, the play, the flopping, the lack of everything. I'm afraid of what hoop's gonna look like in a couple years, because somebody just talked about the isolation, the selfishness kind of ball, and then MHU talked about the ball movement. Like, you really have to rep passing the ball and make that, like, you got to make passing the ball sexy right now, because if you don't, it ain't happening. Then you got the fact that, like, some of the refs are really just there for the check, because refs get paid good. So if you about to pay me a couple $100 for a day, I'll pull up. So you got refs who don't work out not a no day outside of that day. You got refs walking from baseline to maybe the top of the three, calling fouls from way down here. And then you may have another ref who takes his job, I don't want to say way too seriously, but like overly does it. So now you have these girls and boys getting all these reps in because they're playing 4 games, 5 games a weekend, and the reffing is so inconsistent. The rules are different. You get way more. You get 6 fouls in high school ball. 6 fouls in AAU. I'm out here in Texas, right, with EP, no shot clock. So I'm coming from Washington State, though, where we got shot clock. So the type of game at the high school and at different level, it just is. You don't really get to teach, I would say, the pureness of it because it looks and feels so different. So when it comes to fouls, players just discipline. What does that even mean, coach? I just was trying to get the ball. Yeah, but you slapped her trying to get the ball, right? So it's a bad deal right now. It's kind of hard to watch if you really like hoop. You go from watching the NBA, WNBA to March Madness to AAU, you're going to see 4 different types of basketball.
I think the only way to stop that is to like give them technicals. You know what I mean? Like if you get called trying to deceive the referee, then you should get a technical, and that will stop that.
Yeah, but you know what? But you know what's gonna happen? The same thing that happened to R&B music. all the talent gonna be coming from overseas. That's exactly what's gonna happen. As you see right now, the last 4 MVPs are not from America. It's gonna continue that. All the best players, they play in traditional basketball. They were traditional coaches. They playing rules. They not showboating. They not AAU shooting threes and dunking only. They learning the complete game and they coming over and dominating. It's just gonna continue that cycle. It's gonna be more and more players just come over and take over.
Again, it goes back to that participation trophy mentality that we was just talking about a little bit ago. It's like they're not being taught to go out there and play the game to win. It's like as long as you kind of participate and show effort, you should get an award. No. That's not what it is. And it's not even showing effort. It's just showing up. Like that's the effort. I came. Yeah. I came. No, I could have been at home on my video game.
And they put effort in from getting to point A to point B. You know,
I had to convince my mama to get me here. So I should get something for that. Like she didn't want to come.
The amount of fingers that are being pointed everywhere, it's ridiculous. It's like octopus arms, whether it's like people want to blame Steph for the 3. How you gonna blame this man for putting in work? Like, that's not his fault that he put in work in order to be the player that he is to expand his game, you know. And so you got all these players now doing that. Or you got like players or people blaming Ja, or just who want to be able to do all the fancy stuff. And it's like, or you have players or coaches blaming parents blaming culture or coaches. The whole culture around high school AAU basketball it's devastating. The amount of fights I've seen recently. So you're talking about street ball. It's happening. It's just happening in a more organized setting now. And refs and stuff and parents don't really know how to take control because parents are really adding to the problem at even younger levels, 4th and 5th grade. So as a hoop culture, as a Black culture, we got many issues. And if anything, the unfortunate piece is just getting worse.
Yeah. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, I saw it as my son was coming up and playing, and that was like 10 years ago now. And it was just I mean, there were a couple, I'll be quite honest, there were a couple gyms. The rest was like, nah, all of you parents get out. Like all of you get out of the gym right now because y'all are messing with the kids. Y'all are messing with us. We don't have time. Get out. And there were a couple times where parents were about to go to blows. I can't say that I was not one of them because you saw kids out there playing some dirty ball. Like we went down to a tournament and I had this kid kick my son's legs out from under him while he was up in the air to get a pass. Like you don't do that. That's not basketball. That's not defense. You don't kick nobody's legs out from under them. So he lands on the hardwood. Just wasn't able to support himself at all. Completely tore up his knee. And the ref acted like it didn't even happen. And then they didn't want to give me the ref's name because I was like, no, forget this. We reporting this.
Catch me outside.
Right
How about that?
Yeah.
We wouldn't have had no problems. We literally had to go I'm not gonna say the name, but another parent went over there. He snatched the dang sheet off the score table. Said, "Now we gonna get the name, because now y'all got kids out here getting hurt, and that ain't cute. That ain't sexy." But it was bad then, so I can't even imagine now what it looks like, because it's been sensationalized, especially by some of these manager parents that you got out here that are trying to make their kid the spotlight. Kid can't play ball to first.
Right.
Their parents are just teaching them how to be an online celebrity. Everybody wants to be an IG star.
Yeah. Social media. If you ever go
See,
somewhere,
but that's blame though, Gene.
Yeah,
that's blame.
Well, no, but
It's
like
not social media.
If you go to some of these AAU like games, everything is built for what the player can put on their social media.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of that going on.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with that though. So as a content creator, as a coach, and all that, and I'm pro all that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that piece, because that's where the world is going, and it's allowing players to use and leverage their platform. Mm-hmm. Where the problem comes into play is if I have a gift and I don't know how to utilize that gift. Social media is a gift. If I don't know how to leverage it, that's on my community, my internal village's fault. Somebody needs to teach me how to leverage this, because cats is becoming millionaires at 16 years old because they know how to leverage this. So if I'm a hooper and I know what I'm doing and I can market me, I'm a leverage social media to do it. And so I've never seen way more cameras at these tournaments, and I think it should be, because it helps. There's more positive to it than bad. The bad comes into play is the culture and us just being hungry and for the wrong things. That's my take on that piece. But I think it's a beautiful thing. We just need to know how to leverage it.
I would say it's one social media group. I won't say their name, who it is. It's one of the bigger brands, but they only focus on little kids, 16-year-old, talking crap to each other, fighting at AAU games. That's their biggest focus. That's their biggest draw. And so that's what they focus on. So now these kids know they're like, oh, if I dunk on somebody, let me talk crap over them. Let me stand over them. Let me do all this extra stuff, because it gives that kid money. It gives that family money. That's how they're getting paid. And so that's what the social media companies are going for. They're like, all right, you know what? You do this, you clown this player and dunk on them, you're going to get this amount of money towards you. So that's what they're doing now. Like, it's a lot of just dirty tactics that.
But you know that only goes so far.
Yeah, it does.
Once you go to get recruited, your college coach is going to be like, so it depends on who is going to reward them for long terms. They get out of college. Now is the rest of the world going to reward them for that?
Right.
It's just like remember when Amani Bates was coming up. I seen Amani Bates play against Chet in Vegas. Chet took his soul in Vegas. Chet took his soul. Like Amani, if you seen Amani Bates, all his highlights was him dogging players out, clowning on them. Then when he had to go play Chet came in with his team. Chet shut it all up, blocking his shot every time down the court, dunking on him. And it was just like, it was this whole thing. It's like, dang, like everybody hyped up Amani Bates like the next LeBron James. And now he's on his second college right now.
But we talked about this last time when we talked about accountability and who is accountable for these young kids and how they grow up and what they are taught and what we as a community teach them, what their immediate circle, how they take care of them, what they're showing them, how they're raising them, and showing them what is right and what is wrong. And we keep moving the accountability needle. And we need to keep that on parents, because they are the first people that are teaching us how we are supposed to be, whether we are at home, whether we are at school. They're the ones that are laying the foundation of who you are going to be as a person. And then those individuals that you choose to let into your child's life. Because again, when you bring these kids into these recreational or these travel leagues, whether it's basketball, soccer, football, you've got coaches that will teach them how to play the game, how to work hard, how to play right. And then you got teams that it's all about the looks. It's all about how many likes you can get on social media. And they're not teaching your child the baseline of what they need to know. And if you show your child, this is who I'm going to put you with, you're now accountable for what your child is learning and who they're learning it from. Parents need to stop pushing off accountability on other people, because it starts with you first. You have to take care of your child, your community that hopefully you have somewhat of something, whether it's friends, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews, whatever it is. We have to start taking accountability and placing accountability on the right person, which at the end of the day is that child's parent or guardian, whoever that may be. It's not the coach unless it's their guardian. Starts at home.
I would say with that, we have too many kids developing the Black savior complex or savior complex, right? And that's a part of it where a lot of people, they're growing up and they want to save, save, save. And so now when I see, Gene, to your point, okay, if I do this, this brings money in. Now my mom don't have to worry no more. I can move her out the hood. And that, again, is, I think, beyond us, especially right in the Black and brown community. This stuff started before us. But when I see I can leverage whatever this is, whether it's cussing somebody out that brings us money, well, I'm bringing money inside. So I'm going to do this. So kids end up developing this savior complex. And now that's literally, they build this negative chip on their shoulder, and that's what drives them. And then the other part is how many parents are actually willing to be coachable themselves.
But that's the thing, because at the end of the day, as a parent, if you see your child doing some stuff that you don't condone because they want to get an extra couple bucks for you and you don't say nothing about it, again, you are the problem. You've been working hard as long as you've had to take care of your child. Why are you going to let them now mess up part of what could be their future by going out here and doing some stuff that at the end of the day, we all agree isn't going to get them what they need? At the end of the day, that person that's talking the trash, that's out there starting fights, that's out there, we end up talking about that person in a negative manner. They don't end up, their highlights end up at the end of the day becoming, oh, they did it again. Like, nobody wants to keep that person center stage. So it all goes back to what you as a parent condone or guardian condone that child doing and letting them know now is a staple and it's okay.
Like, most of those parents that got those kids that do that, they probably on social media more than them. Probably. And got their page trying to make they change. So can you expect them to control and set a right example for their kid if they're probably on the same type of pages trying to make their own buck too? So,
but again, that's us as a community then saying we don't accept this. And that's, again, goes to a larger conversation that we always go back to in saying that we shouldn't watch stuff where it condones negative behavior. If 90% of us ain't doing that to get ahead and it's only the 10%, why are we watching it? Why are we condoning it? Why are we letting this be what our children see is okay?
Well, I think part of that is what Gene said, is these sites promote that. So you don't need like us watching it, like they're promoting it. They're in control of what you see. Like, what was that movie that Netflix came out with, The Social, whatever? And it kind of broke down, like, you know, they actually feed you certain things to keep you in that loop. So not only it's not us watching it, like we do have to be mindful of not watching it. Like that is a valid point, but they're making it harder and harder because it's like, hey, I'm putting it here. My phone's listening to this and this, you know, all of this stuff is coming surrounding your circle. So, you know, not only do we have to be more vigilant about it, we have to actually really, really, really work hard at it, you know?
I mean, but that is a fact. Like, I'm not negating anything you say, but there are ways to stop it. It's just making a conscious choice to do that. It's making a conscious choice to scroll past it. It's making a conscious choice to take a social media break so that it breaks the algorithm that's coming to your phone and feeding you certain things. It's changing the algorithm of what you subscribe to. Like, that's what it's about. It's not easy, but nothing in life is. And it starts with us making those conscious decisions.
Who's Alexa?
I think
talking to
that's my Alexa. The baseball schedule. My game is getting ready to start.
Okay.
7:10.
I think in that, especially with it being, you know, the second to last day in May, what about the conversation around mental health and mental illness that comes into play? So we talk about, right, this starts at home. A lot of homes aren't safe. A lot of Black and brown families and communities aren't willing to have that conversation. So you see it played out. I think, Gene, you said the mental health nets, right? Like it's a thing. And this is definitely prevalent within sports. Research shows right now that athletes across the board, student athletes, rates of depression and anxiety are equal to or exceed the amount from the rest of the community, right? So then you think about the amount of athletes that are in revenue generating sports end up being the higher percentage are black and brown athletes in football, basketball. And then how many of us within these black and brown communities are not having the conversation around mental health? So we're literally at the top of the population within the country that are suffering from depression and mental health, yet we're not having the convo.
Man, whoever dog
Something like
mute
that. Pitbull.
you, right?
That is very true. When it comes to mental health, I mean, again, EJ, you know, we've had this conversation and talked about it many times with doing mental health check-ins with each other. And when we don't call them mental health check-ins, it's just a check-in. Like, you good? Everything okay? How's work? How's the family? Is there anything you need to talk about? Again, it's one of those things that at some point we have to take accountability for and start doing in our smaller circles. If you start it in your smaller circles, it goes out. I do it with my team at work. We have check-ins every week to make sure that that everybody's okay. Like, we have a lot that's put on our shoulder. On my team, I've got two other women of color, and they're in roles where we typically aren't at. And so I have to, are you good? Do you need anything? How can I support you? Do we need an extra day off? Like, it's us having those conversations, knowing it's a thing. And as we continue to do it, it will trickle down. Like, that's just what we have to do. Like, we even do it with our supervisory team that we have. And we've even started doing it with our frontline team now too, having moments where we're like, how are you? What's going on? We've even started a process of like separating our team up so that they have one of us as their leader, who, if they are struggling with something personal and they know I'm their person. If something's going on, they need to talk to somebody, it might be affecting them at work, they can come to me. Like, we have to start making those spaces. We have to do it because nobody's going to do it for us.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say this right here. Every single coach should be in therapy or have been in therapy. Every single level. Coach, teacher, if you're going to lead, I believe that you should have either gone through therapy or you were in therapy before you start leading youth and young adults in another way. I think it's that serious, especially when we're talking about all the social media stuff. We're talking about increased suicide rates, talking about increased depression, anxiety, starting in kids at like 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade. Like, it's getting that much more real, and student athlete suicide rates are increasing as well. Right. Like, so that means if we're going to be a part of these people's village, we need to know, how do I navigate all these issues so I can help my player to whatever degree that I can, as I'm a part of a bigger village, because there is 31 to over 100,000 people, 31 licensed practitioners to over 100,000 people. That means there's not enough, but I bet there's a whole lot of coaches. So that means coaches need to be able to have some type of verbiage to know how to do those check-ins, right, Ebony, with their players on an active basis, and be able to show up for them and show that they're consistent, actually really care about them and their health. Because if they don't, then the players are just going to keep it in, and we're just going to see deaths and depression and anxiety raise in different levels. And that's a bigger issue than I think anything else.
And there's a lot of the leagues now, and even some of the teams are starting to have psychologists on site. Like, the NFL and I think the NBA both, because I think I talked to both of them, have league sports psychologists that are there to kind of help players, coaches, even admin staff start working through issues in the space, because again, there's a lot of pressure that is put on them. But to your point, it's about being able to be aware of what you need and saying, like, yes, I go to therapy. There's nothing wrong with it. It's going to someone to talk about your issues. And there's nothing wrong with talking about your issues and how you feel. We are emotional beings, and you need to be able to discuss how you feel in a space that is safe, in a space where you will not be judged. And that is what therapy is for. And I think people don't understand that. It's not necessarily because you have a problem. It's because you want a space where you can talk about how you feel and not feel chastised because of that. Not have somebody trying to give you the solution to that problem, telling you got to go do this, and this. Because people automatically think if you tell them something, they're supposed to solve your problem. And that's not what it is. Sometimes you just need somebody to listen to you. And that's what a therapist is there for. They're just there to listen.
This is all fantastic points. And this is why I always believe that kids should be kids. Keep kids as long as they should be kids. Let's not rush to the bag. Let's not rush to be professionals, because when you're professional, those bullets, in lack of a better term, they start flying at you, right? And you got to be responsible. If you're still a kid, there's still some responsibility that lays on the coach, the village, the parents, and all those type of things. So I think we got to stop rushing kids to be professionals so soon and let them be kids to develop, just to kind of be able to handle those things as they come to them. But as we kind of talking on this, and I kind of wanted to move to the next subject. EJ mentioned black coaches, but one particular that sparked my interest was the Deion Sanders and Nick Saban conversation. So Nick Saban made some accusations, or maybe not accusations, just try to point out some things about how the NIL is working. He's losing some recruits to Texas A&M. He was worried about how they're doing things, Texas A&M. And then he mentioned Deion. He said Deion took, a top recruit and paid him $1 million. And that's not how NIL is used. Obviously, Deion and Coach Prime, in the way that only he could do it, came back in a very interesting way. So I want to get you guys' thoughts on maybe NIL, the work that Deion is doing, or should I say Coach Prime, and what Nick Saban had to say about it all.
I go for it. So the whole Nick Saban thing, the issue was that was a private conversation that probably should have never leaked because he was with his boosters.
Right.
And the whole point of that conversation, I don't think it was to shame the other ones. I think it was to tell his other groups, like, you need to spend this money. Like, if you want to have the number one class, you want to spend this money. Now, what A&M did, it was legal, but it was dirty as hell. It was very dirty. It was legal, but dirty. Because what they did is got a bunch of rich donors, created a slush fund, and put all the money in one pot and pretended they were an NIL company.
They're co-op.
That's all they did. And so, and like, think about it, they had the best recruiting class of all time. You had the best recruiting class of all time to a place that's never won a national championship in the last 50 plus years. A known 8-4. Like, you had the best class. But what they did is, I noticed from the recruiting area in Houston, and I talked to high school coaches, he said, well, they got this big group of donors. They put their money together. It's oil money, so it's a lot. And they basically just went to these families like, here's $1 million coming to this school. And they was just passing out money. They was passing out the bag. And it was players, like they got two best players from Louisiana, players from California. I'm like, and everybody knew what it was, but it was technically legal because it's no restrictions right now. And so Saban is just explaining to his alumni base, like, hey, if you don't want this to happen again, I'm gonna need y'all to cough up some more money. Now, I don't like he brought up Deion in the situation. Yeah, I was mad about this. Like, don't bring up HBCUs. You leave us out of this. You mad at Jimbo them. You mad at Coach Fisher. Don't at A&M. Like, we not your competition.
But
So
Deion clapped back and shut all that issue.
Not yet. Deion coming for him though. Coach Prime is coming for him now. That's why he had to say something. Coach Prime is coming for him.
I was like, I want to be on the set for the next Aflac commercial.
Facts.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I was like, Jackson State, they're doing great. Deion is doing great what he's doing. Now, like, he can say they didn't do anything, but anybody that knows anything knows that Barstool is helping out. Like, nobody's blind to that. Barstool is helping him out with a couple of that recruiting stuff. Like, they're not. Barstool has an NIL deal. And they've been giving us the deals the whole time. So
to who though? Specifically who?
Well, no, it's just they have football players, they have soccer players, they have like a bunch of different groups. Like they have an NIL.
But who's he helping out? Was what I'm saying. What schools are you saying? Because like Deion has his own Barstool.
Yeah, he has his own Barstool. So he's
Barstools
but I think it's like
almost every campus, right? So I mean, even UNLV has a Barstool handle. You know what I mean?
And but it depends on. I think it. No, you know what I think? I think it depends on the relationships. I think if it's what school you went to, like, all right, I'm an NIL deal, because I know a bunch of USC players got NIL deals with Barstool. but one of the guys who worked for Barstool went to USC. And then you have another guy who from Ohio State. Like a bunch of the Ohio State got Barstool deals, and a lot of them from Barstool went to Ohio State. So it's just a lot of that going on. It's like posturing. Yeah, I didn't like he brought up Deion. I was like, don't bring up Deion one player compared to what A&M did with 8 5-stars. Like, you can't compare that. Like, that's a totally different deal that they were doing. But I get what he was doing. He was just trying to make sure next year, all right, cough up this money so we can have a number one recruiting class. Whoever leaked to the sucker, like, you're supposed to do, like, you don't do that. Like, don't put that stuff out there.
So that's what gets me to, like, I think the overall point of that was, for me at least, is that NIL is like a part of the game that all of these coaches and universities have to adapt to.
Yeah.
And shit doesn't always leak unless they want it to leak. So it's almost an excuse to either say, one, hey, if we don't do as good, pressure on the boosters. Y'all need to cough it up so we can get the top thing. So from my perspective, I was wondering more if it was like that was the tune of the message that they were attempting to put out to, one, cover their asses, and two, just like make them like pony up that money. You want to be a top recruit.
Yeah, I think it had to do more with, I don't think he meant to put Deion in there. I think that he probably regrets that part of mentioning Deion, because if he'd have just been talking about Jimbo, I think nobody would have cared, because it's obvious what Jimbo has going on over there. But I think when Saban mentioned Deion, that's what made it even interesting and newsworthy at that point, because we knew what A&M was doing. We knew they were taking advantage of the system. So I do think Saban does regret mentioning Deion, because he probably shouldn't, even though it was true. I mean, the facts are the facts, but I don't think he should have mentioned Deion. It's not like Deion got 10 of the top 100 recruits going over there right now. He got one player. That's not going to change the world for him. It's going to help HBCs for sure. But, I mean, Jimbo is sitting there with half of his roster paid. So I think that's the problem. And people got to understand is Saban didn't lie about nothing. He didn't make up nothing. It is the truth, and it is a problem. But he probably shouldn't have mentioned Deion in that.
Yeah.
You know, and it does kind of make it a little bit racial, right? Because then that's when you kind of start tapping in that taboo shit, right? Like, damn, like Deion's been doing all this good to rise all tides for HBCUs, and he gonna shit on him because he's been playing the game that y'all been playing for so long. So then it kind of been like, yo, watch your mouth, cuz.
And then he got a roster. Saban has a roster full of players that went to Deion's camps. When his players want to go to the NFL, they were going to Deion's facility to work out. So he had a relation. We had a relationship with Deion that I know he's sick. That he hopes he can mend that back, because that ain't good for him. It ain't good that now when he recruits, he can't use. I got people like Deion Sanders that would even take you over the top when you're ready. You don't have that no more, and that's why I think Deion kept it simple. It's like, yeah, he called me, but I ain't answering. You know, if he want to be public, then our conversation is going to be public. So now he got to play Deion's game if he wants to get back cool with him, because that does hurt Saban, you know, in the long run, of not being on the same page with somebody as big as Deion Sanders, because they're technically not competing for the same players.
It's true. When does A&M and Alabama play? What's the date on that?
I think it's like October or something.
Yeah, was it third or fourth game of the season?
No.
It's like end of September.
Nah, you know who played A&M in September?
Well, yeah, I know who.
Yeah. Nah, they ain't getting them yet.
October 8th.
October 8th, yeah.
Yeah, A&M.
October 8th.
That's gonna be interesting. It's in A&M. It's in Alabama, or
I think it's in Alabama.
Yeah, you know who? Big Bank take Little Bank. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's gonna be interesting.
Hey, big Bank take a little bit, but you know they're gonna. I mean, this is good for them too, right? Because like you still understand, like NCAA would love parity in freaking college sports right now. So if they can't get parity, at least they can get this beef. Sell more tickets, get more sponsorships.
And I think Patrick said it in the comment that I think it's a lot of publicity. Everybody got their name mentioned. So we see it below. Everybody's trending. #smart. Everybody wins.
Yeah, that's why I said I think that was a mistake mentioning Deion. The Jimbo, he would have said in public. The Deion thing, I don't think he meant to say that in public. But Jimbo, he don't care about no Jimbo Fisher.
No. I was like, and the SEC, the TV deal, new TV deals in 2 years.
Right.
And they about to break the bank, bring it in UT and Oklahoma. So it's all politics at this point.
MH knows it always comes down to the money. It always.
Well, then go ahead. Just go ahead and put them in the ring with Jake Paul. Let's put them on that card, and then let's just finish it that way.
All right. So, no, I didn't mention. I did want to talk about this. We kind of glazed over this. MH did bring it back, but black coaches, and we can. This is really quick, but the diversity in sports, run by Jaya. Shout out to her. Put a post up. It went on LinkedIn and a couple other spots about now the NBA having, since the Lakers just hired their coach, half of the coaches are black in the NBA, which is a great milestone, is amazing. But just anybody, quick thoughts. We don't have to spend much time on this, man, because we do want to get a couple other topics. But one, what's your thoughts on Coach Ham being hired as the Lakers coach, success or fail? And then what do we think about half the league being coached by black coaches?
I mean, with Ham, that was I think a good pick because he's a disciplinary. He ain't going for none of that BS. The sloppiness the Lakers had going on, and it just was sloppy over there. It looked like they didn't even have a coach. Everybody just did what they want to do. I mean, that's what Ham's known for, to make sure the ship runs like it's supposed to run. So I think it was a good hire in that aspect, as long as the players, stay to it. As far as black coaches, that's the trend. It's what makes sense right now. I mean, y'all recycled a lot of these old white coaches for year after year. How many times we see them bounce to almost every team? How many team Van Gundy's going to coach? I mean, these guys bounce around and get jobs regularly. The trend now is get you a good black coach that the players respect. And you're probably going to get a lot of success with that.
Oh, Van Gundy catching the strays.
Not hate on Van Gundy, but I'm just saying he's just one of the guys that he gets a head coaching job every 3 years, and
he be out after the first year every time. I'm like, man, he should not be coaching no more.
Yeah.
Like, why is he coaching?
Yeah, he's about 100 games under 500 right now.
In the NBA, do we think that it always, when it comes to black coaches, does it always have to be a former player? Can it just be a whiz kid? There's a guy that coaches with the Grizzlies that I know he didn't play. I think he played in JV in high school. I think it's no. I don't even think he played in college. But yeah, he's a whiz kid that gets to play. And I feel like for the black coach, NFL, NBA, I think it always has to be a former player. And I think we still got to get past that part too.
Yeah. No, yeah. We definitely got to get past that part, because
I would say to that too, that if you see it start to trickle down more, you might see that change at the top. So like within every other area, whether it's high school, in certain states, you can't be a coach unless you're a teacher, right? There's something right there. And then at the collegiate level, at all 6 levels, being able to get more coaches in the system, I think that's going to help change it at the professional level. But I think it's necessary. Representation is huge. So for that kid who did play JV, he ain't as good as LeBron or KD or Kyrie, but to be able to look and see a coach, assistant coaches, and that could probably drive them to want to talk about or learn everything else that we talked about. How do I be a good leader? How do I learn how to teach the game? I could still be in the league, but I'll be in the league in this way. And I think that increases the representation across the board and increases just dreams for young kids as well. So I think it's a great thing.
And I think with getting more black coaches in, that means you got more black staffs. And this is what they've been doing in the NFL for years. How many coaches in the NFL that did not play, but they were on somebody like Belichick's staff, and as time went on, they built themselves up. Some of the top coaches in the NFL didn't even play, but they went under one of those coaches and were on their staffs, and the black coaches got to do the same. Start hiring your people.
Yep.
Start coaching them up. As you go, they go. As you grow, they grow. Then that's how we start moving in, and you're going to start seeing more of those non-traditional I played at the high level moving up, because these black coaches are now out there and they're going to start moving these guys up. But we got to start hiring our own people. We can't do what they do. We get hired, then we put all of their staff back on.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be. Sorry, I was going to say that's how it should be. We should hire our own people, because that's exactly what they do as well.
Right.
And then build that social capital, right? Like, but then it starts where we're talking about at the home. What does your home village look like? Not outside of your necessarily home, but your home team. Like, how are you building up those people that are within your circle so their social capital can grow? I say this all the time. It doesn't matter necessarily just who you know, but who you know has to know what you know. because when who you know knows what you know, then they're able to say, nope, I got this guy right here, give him a call. And then that's how people get shot up. But if you're not already in this space where people know what you know and know how talented you are, especially when it comes to coaching, and you know X's and O's, you know how to teach as well, you have good relationships, boom, like you definitely can see yourself rising to the top.
Yeah.
Is Darvin Ham going to be able to hire his own staff? Do we know that?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they said he was going to be able to pick his own staff. And that's another thing, too, is just like, well, how much control do these coaches have? You know, can they say, hey, I want such and such to be on the staff, or I want such and such to be on this staff, you know? So how much control do they really have?
First thing he needs to do is trade LeBron.
I'm with it.
Get rid of LeBron. LeBron will be the reason Darvin Ham will never coach again in this league.
That's Coach LeBron to you, okay?
Yeah.
No, that's the management.
Listen,
front office LeBron.
Look, team up with Jenny Buss and get LeBron up out of there.
We're sure now, Gene, you won't be getting a call to be on Ham's staff.
First thing, like, no, we trade LeBron immediately. Where you want to go? Okay, yeah, we're gonna send you there. Let's get you and the whole out of here.
I can't believe LeBron was first in my AD. Like, what are we talking about?
I'm with you.
Nah, Brown puts the butts in the seats. He ain't going nowhere.
Miami will take him.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So the Knicks. Come on, send them over to New York.
All right, so I want to talk about something that kind of came up. It happened last year, and it was like, I don't want to say under the radar, but it just didn't get as much pub. So, we're back into the WNBA and I don't know if you've heard about it, but has anybody heard the kind of controversy with Liz Cambage? So if you haven't, what happened was last year, she was getting ready for the Olympics, so they had to take a break in between their game. She was going to play for her team, for her country, and then suddenly she set out and she didn't play. So there was an incident, protecting her mental health is what she went on, which is kind of tough because MH and I always kind of had this, like, using mental health as a crutch. Like, I didn't play good, so I'm going to blame it on mental health, or I did something stupid, I'm going to be on mental health. That's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, so she said in that situation, or it came out that she smacked a Nigerian player during one of their scrimmages or practice preparing, or one of the exhibition games, and then called her a monkey. So as you hear that sound, I know a lot of y'all cringe because that's just another N-word. Well, nigga, I'm gonna say it's another nigga or thug or in that kind of category. So she came out and wrote an epithet today or yesterday, kind of saying, "Oh no, it wasn't like that." So anybody kind of give me your thoughts on that? And it's a shame, like, that we have to hear that, but this is kind of what Liz is in the news for right now.
I feel like you don't get the ability to push off racism into mental health. Like it's not something that you've learned, and that's something that you've stuck with your entire life, and now you decided to show who you truly are. It's not something you can be like, oh, I just wasn't having a good mental day, so I just called this person a nigga. No, that's not how that works. It's just point blank period, not how that works. Like, that's something that you have continued to use. That's a crutch in your life. When you don't get your way, you want to lash out, and that's what you do. So call it what it is, apologize for it. It's not going to make it any better, but be real about it.
And Liz is Nigerian, right? So she's half Nigerian. Am I correct? Yeah.
I know that, but still,
so
that's weird.
I saw the hit. It was an elbow.
Yeah.
It was a big, hard elbow, and it looked very intentional. Ebony, like you're talking about earlier, a non-basketball movement. And when I heard and saw that, I was like, it sucks. It sucks from just a Black woman space of like, gosh, darn it. I think about colorism. I think about the lack of Black women being able to have good emotional intelligence when it comes to relationship management. I think about all the different levels. And what sucks is she's been known to have a bad attitude, even in the W. I've had people who have worked with her in different realms, and just like, they've just always given off this, nah, she's not cool. So to hear this, I actually wasn't surprised because of that part. But for you to be half Nigerian, and for you, yes, to run and go talk about that, and blame it on mental health, maybe that just was a cover up. It's like, well, now that we have the true story, when do people, how do you respond and take it now? How is that gonna affect when she goes back? right? To it goes back to playing in the Olympics. How is that going to affect the people that she's on with her team right now? Right? It just sucks on all different levels when you hear something like that coming from somebody who fits in the Black community, who's a Black woman, and that's half of you. So that to me is internalized racist and biasm. You got some issues, which is a mental health issue, because now you have some self-hate against yourself and you're taking it out on other people. That's the problem.
She ain't Nigerian. She is Sam Page.
I was just going to say that.
You having that OJ syndrome, though, right? Oh, what'd you say, MH?
But see, I think
ahead.
when you use something like mental health and you say like that was my issue, and again, to your point, Coach, you just listed a couple of things that she may be internalizing and feeling. You know what? That mandates you need to go see somebody. You need to go see somebody. You need to see them on a scheduled basis, and we need to get check-ins and reports on how you are now mentally doing. The people can't keep using mental health as a crutch and then not seeking the help necessary to move past whatever their issue is, because it is your issue. Like, mental health is your issue. It's not my issue to fix. I'm not supposed to be the one that has to bend over backwards because you don't know how to function in society. That is your issue to deal with. I keep my crazy at home. I don't bring it out in the public, okay? I keep it at the house. You can't keep yours at the house, which means you need to go talk to somebody until you know what your outside crazy is supposed to be. Okay? Just like there's an inside voice and an outside voice, is an inside crazy and an outside crazy.
Yeah.
Okay? There's levels to everything. And the moment you start using mental health as your shield, now we need to hold you accountable.
And you're lessening other people's kind of journey or pain or process, you know what I mean? Because we start looking at it like the boy who cried wolf type situation. What was you gonna say, MH? My bad.
Oh, I was just asking who put the story out again? Who re-released the footage? Was it Australia's camp that did that? Do we know?
I just started seeing over social media, so I didn't track who the first person to kind of like bring it back out.
Because
it came from the EU, so it was one of like Daily Mail, one of them. Somebody who got the whole story. Somebody who it's been covered.
In the footage, I think is really what kind of because like Coach said, the elbow, they started showing the video. So once it's all conjecture once people are speaking about it. But once you get that video, caught the little tape,
right?
And it was.
Go ahead, Gene.
No, it was like during All-Star Weekend, you heard the rumblings about it.
Right.
Like you heard all the rumblings about it in Vegas, like something went down. And one thing about it, when I heard everything that came out, I was like, with Liz, like, your reputation precedes you.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I was like, all the stuff I heard about her, like everything they said, I would not be shocked. It validated. Yeah. I was like, I would not be shocked she said any of that.
Yeah.
Because that's how she's perceived around the league. That's
but
why a certain organization didn't even try to re-sign her.
Yes.
Even put no money out there. It's like, no, you can walk.
Yeah, one of the posts I saw when they had when they kind of broke the story, they were like, "Oh, did you hear about this?" They had her in the Aces jersey. I was like, "Man, no, man."
She a Spark.
Sparks jersey.
She a Spark.
All right.
I always just wonder about the timing of things, because we know how you can play with, public guilt or however we want to call it. You can play that. So I always wonder how the timing of things, who released things, and to your point, Gene. I always tend to the power of social media. I always tend to look at who follows who and who likes who and who comments on who. I don't know. When your teammates don't really shout you out on your thirst traps, then maybe you're not a good teammate. So that tells me a lot about you.
Like literally no love.
No love. If your teammate's not hyping you, gassing you up, that tells me a lot. That
tells me a lot. All you need to know.
That internalized bias, though, and that internalized racism and that internalized, that's real. And I think that that's something women just struggle with in general. And so that could be another reason why the W struggles to crack that certain ceiling, because of just other issues that women and Black women that we have that niggas don't have, right? Dudes don't have that. And women, we do. And then you got the Diana Taurasi and Skylar Diggins. And when people are looking at it, everybody's wanting to know, ooh, I would have
Right.
loved to see them fight. And it becomes sexualized in a different way.
Right.
Like we can't get past certain ceilings.
And
Sure.
it doesn't help though when women are asked to be, when we might portray, we rub stuff off, be like, man, it's whatever. It's like, but that's not what women do. I don't care. Like, don't try to make me have feelings about something I don't have feelings about. Don't try to, like, it's not there. And I think that's the other thing that happens with women as well. You may not have it, and it's like, but you're supposed to feel some kind of way about it. I don't. Don't try to make me feel I don't care. And then you have, again, going back to social media and how they re-report things and they put it up there and people say, oh my God, how could somebody do that to you? How you must feel. I'm like, I feel fine. Apparently y'all are more triggered than I am. Y'all need to go to therapy too.
Just look at it like this. It may just look at it like this. Remember on the movie Draft Day where nobody went to the players' birthday party?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Liz
exactly.
used to DJ out here. And like one of her birthday celebrations, none of her teammates were there.
It tells you something.
It tells you everything you need to know.
It tells you something.
It tells you something like when your teammates don't support you on anything you do.
Yeah,
your first big DJ event, none of them show up.
Yeah, they not.
None of them
Find out who your real friends are.
Yeah, if they're not riding with you, that tells you a lot about you.
Yeah, something about you they not rocking with.
Correct.
All right. So another topic, and I think this follows definitely on what MH said, or at least the way I'm positioning it. So it's going to be open for him, of course. But Kaepernick, I bring him up in every live somehow, some way. And now I finally bring him up and he's actually in the news. Okay. So Kaepernick just recently had a workout with the Raiders. Adam Schefter dropped a bomb on that. What was that, last week, Wednesday, Thursday, or something like that. So I just want to get what everybody's thoughts are with Kaepernick's first real, like, official workout since I think it was the Seattle Seahawks, like a couple years back.
Yeah.
So I'll just take the floor. What's your thoughts?
I'm hyped for it. As a Raiders season ticket holder,
let's go.
If he gets signed, I'll be there. I got to come to a game, at least one. I'm excited. That's good news, personally.
Anybody else?
Man, I think they're taking him as a joke right now. I don't think they're taking him seriously. I think he's going to have to have more people bring him in, and then really comes down to come down and they get a lot of film and enough people saying, no, this guy still got the juice to be out here and play. And the numbers look right as far as them making money off of him. Then I think we'll see him sign. But I think right now you might see one or other two teams bring him in, but it's going to come down to, is he really still got it to play? Well, is he still really worthy? And who wants to take the chance on a financial? You know you're going to have the people that's going to hate him, but do you think financially the money you're going to gain off jerseys and ticket sales is going to make that difference?
Hey, instantly number one jersey in the league, he goes to the Raiders. Instantly.
But it does depend where he goes too, because you got a lot of haters. It's going to definitely depend on.
I don't think so, Bobby. I think whoever picks him up, his jersey will go number one.
I think
number one.
I think it's gonna go. Just because, again, that team was the one that went out on a limb, took a shot on him. I mean, regardless of what you may think, he's been getting media here, there, and everywhere. But for a team to finally pick him up and say, whether he gets on the field or not to start, if you at least pick him up before the season starts, that jersey is gone everywhere.
And maybe so the jersey, but you still got to worry about the ticket sale. You still got to worry about the backlash too.
You got to worry about the sponsorship. Sponsorship money bigger than any jersey sale.
But it
that's what I'm saying. So it depends to where you go too.
Diversity is a big thing right now. I mean, he can't go nowhere. I mean,
if a sponsor pulls out because you signed Kaepernick, all of their little diversity talk that they're trying to do.
It's going
you cannot worry about a sponsorship.
No.
That's not a problem.
I think sponsors will be fighting for it.
Drops because of Kaepernick, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it.
When it comes to football, they still got to take him seriously. Right now, they still looking at him as a joke. He's 34. They just doing it just to do it. Until they start taking him seriously, then we can talk about Kaepernick playing again. But they're not taking him seriously. I mean, you just got the Raiders that brought him in camp and. Oh, yeah, he's looking good. He's looking good. But why ain't he went somewhere else yet? So at some point, somebody going to need a quarterback because there's a lot of trash ones out there. And they're going to have to start taking them seriously.
And my biggest thing is, like, I hope the Raiders are not using him because the Raiders got a whole lot of stuff going on. And they got a lot of stuff going on. And the Davis family being petty They were signing Kaepernick just to be petty.
That's a thought out there. That is
because
definitely
if Al was still alive, Kaepernick would have been a Raider.
Facts.
Just because how he hates the league and how him and the league battled his whole life. Same thing is happening with his son.
So
I just hope he's not being used in a ploy.
I think like
there's a go ahead, MH.
Not my fault. Yeah, I think like Bobby said, I think it just comes down to can he play or not at the end of the day. And then to your point, EJ, sponsorship money is a real thing. I mean, Washington changed their name over sponsorship, so yeah, that's a real thing. So,
but if you don't sign him and you don't put him on the field, you don't know if he can play. Workouts is workouts. That's not a game. So to me that argument doesn't mean anything until somebody signs him and puts him on the field. We don't think he could play. There's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of quarterbacks out there right now. They can't play.
But in any profession, though, in any profession, not just saying quarterbacks or football, if you take away 5 to 6 years away from that profession and come back, I mean, how good are you going to be at that profession right now? So
yeah,
but again, it depends on the work that they've been putting in off. Like you not seeing the work they put in, they're not being focused on, they're not being featured. You don't know what they're doing.
But
so if you don't know what they're doing, just because you don't see them out on the field, don't mean they're not.
I would say that's not game speed though.
Game
speed is different.
It's not control.
Game speed is different.
It's not.
He can't train for that. He can't train for a 6'4".
He can't train for Aaron Donald.
Guy running Aaron Donald. He can sit there and make all the things, but there's some things you can't train for. And with him being gone for 6 years, that's tough physically. I mean, to get back week to week.
But until you put him out there, you can't discount it.
Yeah.
Again, there's players that are continually playing and they still not do it. They're not performing at a peak or high level.
Sam Darnold.
You can't discount this man and say that he can't play because you put him out there on the field.
No, I agree. That's why I said that they need to take him when they start taking him seriously. Stop trying to just bring him in here for this little high school 7-on-7. Bring him in there, let him put some pads on, let him play.
I was like,
he needs to be on somebody's practice squad, though, right?
Like at least he's playing in the USFL or something. Like people need to see you on. We need to see you real.
Nah, he ain't gonna do that though. Because why would he? His brand too big for him to have to go that low. If he go to the NFL, he ain't gonna play. He could have been played in one of those leagues. He ain't about to play over there.
He could have been the face of the XFL because Vince McMahon was gonna give him all the money in the world.
That's a waste of time.
Vince was gonna build the league around him when he brought it back the last time.
Nah, he ain't gonna waste his time with that to go over there and get hurt, and then he really ain't going to the NFL.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he make enough money from Nike and enough other places to either I'm gonna go to the league or I ain't playing no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm sure he can sleep good every night knowing that. So that's why I said until they start taking him seriously as far as the player, then I mean he already knows this. It's gonna be a lot of BS. He don't want to go to these BS things. He already knows the outcome. But he's going to have to keep going to him until finally somebody take him seriously, look at that trash roster they got, and say, what are we doing?
Hold on.
I need to be in here.
Were you specific with a trash roster, or were you talking about the Raiders roster being trash?
I mean, Derek Carr is not a gem, bro. Derek Carr is one of the worst quarterbacks under pressure. Derek Carr, he's good. He's great on the field.
What did I walk into?
The minute somebody breaks through that line, it's a panic. You can see it on his face. He can't make a pass. It's not good. Derek Carr is not a great quarterback. He's not a top 15 quarterback.
That's not true.
Nobody
Derek Carr's a top. You don't. Whoa, we just switched from Kaepernick to Derek Carr, not a top. Come on,
that's
man.
not true.
I can't
see it. Are we talking statistically?
He's a terrible performer.
Look, Dak had all the talent around him, and he performed better than Dak.
Hey, whoa.
Yeah, exactly. Dakota had all the talent around him.
Dak's looking real good now.
Dakota had all the talent around him.
Dak came back from that ankle injury looking immaculate in my humble Texan opinion.
And then when he played good teams, he choked every time.
He looked like I was about to say, he looks like a guy that still couldn't get out the first round.
Yeah.
Can Dak get out the first round?
Dak is what I call a week 1 through 7 guy. That's it. He gonna give you.
He played pretty good later in the year,
and then he just go. That cliff gonna hit.
Well, see, it's a good thing we got an easy schedule this season. We gonna find out.
First round, I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah. Y'all gonna be looking for a quarterback next year.
Yeah, no skin off my back. I'm impartial. I don't care. Not Baker
Baker-
Mayfield. Definitely.
He can still play.
Cowboys.
He could play.
Definitely not Baker.
He
But,
could play.
so, all right, so wrapping that up, so Kaepernick not in the NFL, or do you?
Before you say
think
that,
he-
if Baker could play, then Tim Tebow should still be in the league, man.
Don't bring up
agree,
Tim
Ross.
Tebow. Don't bring up Tim
Agree, Ross.
Tebow.
Always
I agree, Ross.
But didn't Baker Mayfield just go to the playoffs just a year ago
Timmy
with the Browns?
Timmy
With the
Tebow won
Browns.
just as many games to playoff as Baker. Get Tim back in the game, man.
Say it again. Say it again, Bob.
Even just as far as
And
Baker.
a very sad
bring
point
Tim
I will
Tebow
bring
back
up.
up.
No, a very sad point. So the game they won was against the Steelers. Both
Correct.
of those trash ass quarterbacks.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Tim Tebow cheated. That was an illegal formation.
Whoa.
And- Hey, now he cheated. It was a legal formation. It should have been reviewed. And then Baker, it was we shouldn't arrest of all our players, man. We're gonna go with that.
Boys got
Anyway,
about Baker.
Kaepernick should be in the league. He's better than some of the ones that we listed.
Absolutely.
Is he?
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
that.
No.
I'm taking Colin Cap over
Oh,
Sam
yeah.
Darnold any day of the week.
Oh,
I'm not.
yeah, probably.
Any day of the
Probably
week.
over Sam.
You
But
telling me
Carolina-
that
Carolina's
Kaepernick?
not trying to win.
You
'Cause
telling
they
me
suck.
Kaepernick ain't better than Daniel Jones?
Oh, now come on now.
They the same quarterback.
You don't
Vanilla
think he's
Vic.
better
Now,
than Daniel
hold
Jones?
on, now. Hold on. Let's not disrespect Vanilla Vic.
I'm just saying. But, I mean,
That stumble he had a couple years ago, man.
Yeah.
No way.
you got Daniel Jones with those Junior Whopper hands who stay fumbling the ball. You think Kaepernick can't do that? At least Kaepernick will hold the ball.
I mean, to me, they the same guy.
Vanilla Vic. Let's keep this.
They
going.
the same
Daniel
player,
Jones
but I
and
don't think Kaepernick is that fast anymore.
No,
Daniel
Yeah.
Jones and Kaepernick's the same guy.
no, they're not.
No, they're the same
Athletes.
player.
Athletes.
It's just athletes
Gene,
playing quarterback.
Gene, I'm
That's
with you.
it.
Man,
They're the
Kaepernick
same
was a
player.
play from winning the Super Bowl, and you're comparing him to
Vanilla
the
Vic.
Junior Whopper
Man,
hands
dude,
guy who
that was a
fumbled.
loaded
It ain't a
ball.
good player.
That was a loaded 49ers team, and people in league was not ready for running quarterbacks at that time.
Dude,
They
they
were
won
not
like
prepared.
4 games last
You
year.
know, running
You got to compare him to
basically,
Kaepernick.
They
Talk
were
to
not
him, man.
prepared at that time. But once the league caught up,
Talk to him, Gene.
it was done. Once they caught up, they was like, "Oh, okay, you know what? Let's spy him with our outside linebackers. Let's spy him in the middle."
Let's go.
Once they
Vanilla Vic.
made him stay in the pocket, make him be a quarterback, he was useless.
Well, it looks like they figured Daniel Jones out in week 1 because he still ain't made a name for himself. At least Kaepernick had to be figured out.
Dan Jones had that 4.4 speed though.
Yeah.
Dan Jones only did second
Man,
half.
you just seen that one play. He had that run. Now everybody want to talk about this guy's
Hey,
speed.
it was the highest
Vanilla
miles
Vic.
per hour that year in the league.
That dude's trash, man.
That boy got a 90 speed on Matt.
No, he got
That's
wheels.
speed on man.
They gave him an 88 card like off rip and
Yeah, he got
Hey, but hold
Cold,
on. Hey, that's an
man.
asterisk, man. That was a COVID year.
Hey, look, his
Right, right.
passing is a 65, but his speed is a 90.
Yeah.
That's
but-
Vanilla Vic, boy.
Well, we obviously know that don't win him games because he got to run somebody down from throwing those picks.
I mean, but has he really had any help? He has no O-line.
Thank you.
Saquon's
man,
hurt
so
and
now-
no receivers.
All right.
No, I can't judge
no
him.
receivers.
Give me some help. Yeah, no receivers.
No receivers.
Yeah.
About that one. How long has he been in the league?
Too long.
Yeah.
2-3 years.
Too long to be a starter.
Wasn't Sterling Shepard still with them?
Vanilla Vic, baby.
I'm not
Hey,
gonna
hey,
say
Patrick,
no receivers.
I don't approve of that name either, man. That's a at all.
That man's a real athlete, man, back there. Just give him some time.
Athlete
Time.
playing quarterback.
They're looking to trade him come next year if he don't perform this year.
That's
He ain't gonna
fine.
be on the
They're
roster.
gonna trade him. They're gonna release him.
Yeah,
He
right.
get traded.
Go put him.
You can't trade something on one.
We just let
Right.
you go. We don't want nobody in return. You just gotta
I
go.
feel like Daniel Jones needs that Tannehill treatment where he needs to go on the bench behind somebody for a while
Kaepernick.
and then play.
Yeah, he needs to sit behind Kaepernick. That's what the Giants
No,
need
he
to
don't need
do.
to see bad quarterback play. He needs to sit behind a good quarterback to show him how to play quarterback, and then you go hop in. You can't have somebody that play just like you. Then both of you suck.
Go put him on that
No.
Miami team. Go put him on that team.
Oh, so
Put him on
Ben's
the
Tua
Dolphins.
Tua's out.
Yeah. Take
Oh,
Tua out.
Listen,
I don't
I,
know
think
about
Tua trash, so that's a whole
Yeah,
nother.
get Tua out of there and put Vanilla Vic
I
over
think
there.
Tua BFI.
Vanilla
Garbage.
Vic.
All right, so I want to open it up. Is there anything you guys want to hearts and minds before I bring up one of the last topics I had? Has anybody got anything on their chest that we need to revisit?
I want to just say to MH, man, with all that Ben Simmons, Can we hear what your opinion is after the last thing? What just took place? Get an update on the Ben Simmons fight.
Hey, Bobby, I'm gonna need your backup in a second. But
Absolutely.
we Ben getting back, man. It's hard to do anything with a hurt back, man. So apparently we got to get that back fixed, and we'll see what he's gonna look like next year.
So
Apparently,
yeah. I mean, if he wants to stay,
reportedly.
If he wants to stay one of the top NBA players, why is he going to go out there and not look like one? So you might as well just sit out until you're ready.
If you injured, you injured. I mean,
is he the fourth best player on his own team?
Is he the fourth best player on his own team?
Yeah, easy.
Who's three?
Right.
I just figure any other guy that shows up in the playoffs.
Any other guy that actually shows up.
Well, Kyrie don't show up all the time. So
right.
Hey, that's because it was Ramadan, man. If it wasn't Ramadan, he would have gave you 60 a night.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown was doing Ramadan too. He played. Kyrie got it. Ben Simmons gonna be all right, man. We just gotta get that icy hot. You got that surgery. We good. He'll be back next year.
Yeah, back a serious injury, man. You can't wiggle like you used to with a bad back, man.
Yeah, you got to get that right.
I'm asking, how do you hurt the back not playing? How do you hurt your back not playing? Like
you talking about not playing? What you mean? You can hurt your back in practice. You can hurt your back lifting weights.
He wasn't practicing.
Ross, you done got out the bed one day before it hurt your back. So I don't tell you can't do it without doing something athletic. Because it's possible.
No shot.
Ben Simmons, man, no.
You got it, man. I just have to check in with him.
So all right, Mike Tyson got into an incident in April. So we didn't talk about it on the live show, but it's they went to court and they decided not to press charges. Man, what are your thoughts about how that went down? Or I hope everybody knows what happened, right?
That's when you manhandled that person on the plane.
Yes. Are you doing
that? He's supposed to.
Well, I got two things to say about that. We all seen those video tags where the guy's in the lion cage and then the lion bites your hand or something like that. You can't be messing with Mike Tyson.
Stop playing these games.
Yeah.
So, I'm a little disappointed in Mike because I was hoping Mike would have cut him up a little bit more than what they showed afterwards. I was expecting a little bit more of a beatdown look on his face. So I got to check and make sure what's up with that.
Yeah.
I feel like Mike is patient enough to let you know to shut the fuck up. Just stop talking to me. Leave me alone. All right. Just quit. We're on a plane. Stop.
Anybody getting antagonized like that anywhere is about to go off and do something. Like I feel like he was. I mean, we on a plane, we in a tight spot, and you just all on my back, in my ear. And the fact that nobody on the flight from a personnel standpoint did anything, and you recording the incident, dude, you wanted to be a highlight reel. And guess what? You was, and then you didn't get no money. So to me, justice, listen, everything went well in that situation. It's like, oh, damn, Mike, they might try to press charges. I understand, because you know that little kid that keep kicking the back of your seat, and you look at his parent like you're not even gonna say nothing. You know, they keep kicking the back of my chair. You gonna act like this done. So, dude got what he deserved, and I'm glad that Mike ain't had to worry about nothing. He had no charges pressed because that was stupid.
No, it was obvious that dude was setting it up trying to get some money, but you gotta stop playing with people. And he got lucky because Mike smoked real good weed. He smokes it all the time, and he was probably real nice and good and high. And that dude just kept making his high go down and down, so he had to just give him a good slapping. You can cut it out. And we went to court and they did the right thing. So I'm glad the court did the right thing because Mike get teased all. You gotta just imagine what people probably say to that dude. Ever since he got that tattoo on his face, been wanting him. And now people better understand you can get touched out here and you can get touched real bad, and there ain't no consequence for me. It's you when my fist hit your face. So you better be cool out here. So I'm glad Mike got out of that because they need to stop playing with him.
As a young man, I can't even really remember like the peak of Tyson's career, right? Like, but I know
YouTube.
I'm never going to antagonize Mike Tyson. I'm 28. I know better.
He was raised
Stop
right.
it. Period. I guess like I'm not gonna put myself in that position for what? For me to be a clip on YouTube? Absolutely not.
This is that do anything for clout era, right? So we talked about that at the very beginning. Cats will do anything for clout, for the bag, for that 15 seconds of fame. And that just makes you look stupid. Like
Hey,
you
Migos said
look
it
dumb
best.
at the end of the day
Right.
putting yourself in that situation just for the clout, but you're willing to look dumb for clout. That don't make no sense.
As a
That's
dude
why I
that
was
got
hoping
hit.
Mike would have cut him up a little bit more when they showed his face.
No, he should have came back with the left,
I
Ross.
was
That's what
hoping
he
it
should have
was
did.
gonna
He
be
just,
some straight.
That was
Yeah,
just
I
like
seen it. I was like, Mike, man, drop that back foot on the floor instead of.
Yeah, Mike was pulling his punches.
yeah.
That was like old boy that ran up on the stage for
Dave
Dave
Chappelle?
Chappelle and got.
Oh, yeah.
You mean the guy that arms
Nah,
did this?
That's what I'm
Yeah,
talking about.
nah.
Yes, yes.
Bet you won't do that no more.
Ever.
No. What about
That guy
that
just
boy
got-
that he ran up on that cornerback, that former NFL player at the airport, and he
Ooh,
put
that
his
was
hands
bad.
on him.
Listen,
Ooh, he touched him up something special.
Hey, Bobby,
I-
Bobby,
people. It ain't
Put him on
sweet.
Put him in the
he put his
detective
hands on
baggage.
him. But he's on the banned flight list, I think now. Though he can't go to the airport.
Man, it was worth it. He touched him up something special. I bet they
NFL
need to
dude.
leave people alone, man.
Yeah.
And
I
that
think
dude
he's
kept
about to
messing with
rise up.
him, and he touched him up something special.
It got to be the right amount of money. That's all I'm saying.
Again,
Yeah.
people need to stop trying to. I'm sure he can
Glove
take
or
a
no
private
glove.
flight. It'll be okay. He can take some little
Facts.
jet suite thing. He ain't got to ride with regular people now. He just can't take Delta or nothing. But he's fine
Right.
on the private. So
Right.
beat your. I can get on a private jet. I'm good. People need to stop
But
running.
how you gonna get beat up like that and then get fired? I mean, come on. You got fired to get whooped.
And beat up.
Yeah.
He's winning the fight.
Yeah.
Facts.
No, how about at least get a blow off? He didn't
Hey,
even
good,
Oh no, he
some
got,
good punches,
he got one.
something.
He got one off.
Yeah,
And
he got.
started bobbing.
Yeah,
If
you're right,
watch
he
the
did.
beginning, you could tell
Got
he
one.
started bobbing and weaving, and then
Yeah,
he
he
lost
did.
that head
Swear.
movement. And it was over.
Ooh, but he got
Caught
touched up after that.
He got another
Touched
one.
him
Yeah.
up.
He got hit with that straight.
Another one.
That man caught another one.
Oversized baggage.
Yeah, all I was waiting for in the background was World Star. 'Cause he got touched.
Oversized.
Ooh, he got touched.
I love it. All right. Well, anything else before we sign off? MH, anybody?
Real Madrid won the Champions League. I know nobody talks about soccer here, but December 14, they have more than double of anybody else. Crazy. Real Madrid. Fuck Liverpool.
There you go.
I'm a Manchester United fan. I hate Liverpool, so it's got to be said. I'm just happy Liverpool didn't win. Manchester United got a new coach. I'm happy for their next season. So
Talk about it. We need
a
to
lot
get
of
them
good
in
things
this game, huh?
looking up. Yeah, a lot of good things looking up for Texas sports across the pond sports.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm gonna check in on the
Not
Netflix.
Texas though.
Hey, well, calm. I don't. You can talk about the Rangers like that. I'll give you the Rangers, but the Stars, the Cowboys, and the
a little
Mavs.
bit.
We got three good teams in the Metroplex. The Rangers dead to me. I got nothing for them, man. Spent $500 million on 2 players in the offseason, and we're terrible. So,
Gene, I'm watching that Netflix show with that F1.
Yeah.
So next month we're gonna be able to talk about that.
Oh,
For sure.
They just had a race yesterday, right?
Yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was in Monaco yesterday.
In Monaco.
Yo.
I didn't watch it, so Gene, if you watch it, don't say nothing yet. I didn't watch it yet. So I don't know.
Is that the homework?
That's the homework.
All right,
That's
I'm
the
study
homework.
up. I'm gonna study up.
We got to study it.
F1 is something serious, and they coming over here now.
Oh,
they
for
got,
sure.
They
Yeah.
got the Miami race, the Austin race.
Yep.
It's a destination sport now. I mean, it's
Yeah.
always been a destination sport, but it's coming over here because there's money to be had.
And don't forget, one of us are one of the
us.
top people. So
Yeah.
that is the homework.
Homework.
Yeah.
That's our work.
Unfortunately, his car is still crap, but he's still, he's still
Yeah, man. I
representing.
was like, his car's crap, man.
His car is crap.
Like, what did they do?
Like,
this year?
how did they mess that car up? So it's not even just this year. It's this year.
Man, last year.
We all know about last year. Last
Yeah.
year he was supposed to win. Last year was. Don't even get me started there. But this year that car ain't hot garbage. Even though whatchamacallit is doing, he's doing pretty good in it. George, what's the boy's last name?
Oh, his teammate.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
doing decently good in it. But again, he went from a Formula 2 car to
this car.
Formula 2 to the a Williams car, which and now he's with Mercedes. So, you know, going from Formula 2 to Williams to Mercedes, that's a big jump. So you can make a Mercedes car look really good when you went from sorry, Williams Racing, if you end up watching this, talking about your cars. Their cars is hot garbage. So to go from that car into a Mercedes and him be placing the way has been placing, is looking good. It's just Lewis, you know, he got that target on his back.
Yeah.
Trying to get up there.
Absolutely. All right, MH.
Shout out to Coach Woodson and Annalise, Greater U Sports. Appreciate the support. H&M, man, shout out to you, brother. Thank you for tapping in, commenting on us. That's all I got, bro.
All right, all hearts and minds are clear. Anybody else? Final thoughts before we jump off?
Spacebar podcast. My fault. Shout out to you as well.
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys all for hopping on, whether you hopped on for 10 minutes or an hour, the whole time, man. Like I said, we do great conversations. So definitely it's good. We're going to work on attempting to chop some of these up so we can kind of get these dimes and these jewels that we present, you know. And I think I like the fact that even this one, we came out with homework that we need to do so we can all speak. And, you know, let's add the MLS on. Is it young nephew? What is the soccer league over there?
So there's multiple, right? So the Premier League is in England,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have Ligue 1 in France, the Bundesliga in Germany, La Liga in Spain, and Uber Eats League. Ligue 1 is in Italy. Sorry, Uber Eats League
Uber
is in
Eats.
France.
Hold
Yeah.
on,
They sponsor the whole league. That is
the
their
whole
league.
league.
Yeah, the whole league. That's them. Yeah.
Uber Eats got their own league. When I
Yeah.
say the boy
Yeah.
making his own money.
Yeah. So those are the 5 most popular. It's Britain, France, Italy, Germany, and Spain. Those are the top 5.
So which one should we start with, nephew? Give us one to kind of.
The Premier League is going to be the easiest.
But,
the Premier League is going to be the easiest. I think there's more Americans in the Premier League, and they speak
Let's do
English
that.
predominantly. So, yeah, Manchester United is my team, but you know, I won't talk bad about you if you choose to support another team.
I won't call you a front runner, but you picking some of the best teams. Like
So I have a legitimate reason, right? Like, I'm from Texas. My dad is a Cowboys fan, born and raised here, so I gotta support Cowboys. And then my mom's from Manchester, England. Shout out. So she's from old Manchester, and that's the team. All my family on her side is all Manchester United, so I gotta support. I gotta get me a Beckham jersey and save up for a Ronaldo jersey. CR7's my goat. It's my man.
So no, like I said, man, always appreciate y'all sharing the time in these conversations. And, you know, the request that I've been starting to ask is make sure you all so the live comes up on multiple platforms, whether you're on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, take one of them, because as soon as we hit end, this show actually pops up. Man, just post it on your social network so we can get more people to join the conversation and just hear some of the things that we talked about, right? Because we talked about some great things that we need to do. And then number one, like, you know, that's probably sometimes missed is we need to protect our Black women, you know? So just make sure that as you get a chance, just share it. It doesn't take you, much time. Thank you all who live tweeted, who's still watching. I'm seeing the numbers fluctuate, so we definitely want to get more of those live tweets. So if you don't want to be on camera, please just live tweet, man, because we like some of your comments. So like as MH said, thank you all for kind of commenting and keep the show going. And so with that, I want to thank everybody. Deuces. All right, so y'all know the drill, man. Please stay safe, practice gratitude, and know we're rooting for you.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Look. Shoot me, I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Shoot me, I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to kind of rap.